Hello, everybody. It's Reese again, talking to Joe TV. It's a pleasure to have you company for yet another night of watching action. Tonight, I bring to you my first European football on the channel, and we're gonna watch Liverpool together. Liverpool against Inter Milan, and just gonna have a slurp of tea while I wait for somebody to join, and we've got somebody on board in the chat there. So whoever you are, please like the video if you want to, and if you're not already subscribed, then please subscribe to the channel. How well people do keeping on the win. How do my housekeeping in terms of sharing the stream around all the platform to get as many people as possible in the chat with us. And I want said about delivering the teams that are playing tonight ready. So after I just shared this to Facebook and Twitter and the likes, I'll then read the team news out. Right, now that that's done, I'm back in the room and I will now read the team types. Sorry for the delay. So tonight's lineup, as I can see the players covering in the tunnel ready to enter the Hollow Turf of Anfield. If you like Liverpool, I don't particularly, but it's an iconic stadium and you feel special while there. So the players starting the game with Alisson in goal for Liverpool, Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, Liverpool's arguably best centre-back pairing of Joe Matip, who's come up leaps and bounds this season, alongside probably the best widely recognised in the world, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson, with a midfield three of Fabinho in the centre, to the right of him, Thiago Alcantara, and Curtis Jones on the other side, with the front three of Mane, Diego Jota, and Mo Salah. Onto the Inter Milan team, and some of the pronunciations here, as we see the Champions League anthem being played, and the Liverpool fans in the cot waving all the fabulous flags, and the strains of "You Never Walk Alone" or the echoing around. But Handanovic in goal for Inter, Bastoni, Dibro, Skriniar, Dumfries, Arturo Vidal, Brozovic, Katakanoglu, Perisic, and then the South American pairing up front of Martinez, the Argentinian, and 33 years old, and much past his best, Alexis Sanchez, from Chile, of course. The players and the officials just going through the formalities. Anyone who's not aware of the state of the game from the first leg, Liverpool go into this game with a 2-0 lead, which is obviously a very comfortable lead, but because there's no away goal rules anymore in the Champions League, then 2-0 is not insurmountable by any means. Obviously, it means that if Inter were to score 2 goals without a response from Liverpool, then I could be sat here for nearly 3 hours, and as much as I will be company and it's a privilege to do this, that wouldn't be very ideal for my concentration and my strained voice, but we'll see how we go on. So the players look almost ready to kick off. Looks as though, as traditionally is the case, Liverpool will be shooting towards the Anfield Road end in the first half. I do like Martinez's air. It's cool that we get to just stick up like that. Vidal, what's a right plonk with his hair, though. He's not mine. He's always made his hair look like a toilet brush. But different strokes for different folks. Simeone looking a bit nervous. I got to look in his eyes thinking, I don't think you boys can do this, but try your best. So it's Inter, who look like they're about to kick off. As interestingly, Liverpool take the knee in the Italian teams. The Italian team are not doing that. Make of that what you will. Inter Milan get the game underway, and they get to pass back. Oh, see, Inter Milan already are going to be in huge trouble with the press. Andy Robertson harries Dumfries into almost an error, and it's out of play for a throw deep in Liverpool's half. Miscontrols again by some of the Inter Milan players. And already Inter Milan making errors. A poor pass from Dibro at the back. How Liverpool built their early possession in the game. One ball forward from Joe Matip, but to no avail. He loses possession, and again we have another throw in for Inter. Jurgen Klopp looks calm and relaxed. Oh, coolly done by Trent Alexander-Arnold, clearing under pressure. Head tennis in the middle of the park. Somebody needs to get the ball down on the floor. Excellent by Trent, sticking to his man and averting the corner. I do believe that was Perisic. Alisson plays a goal kick out to Van Dijk, who plays it to Matic. a very loose pass from Trent. But Curtis Jones is here to bring some composure. He plays on ball. And now it's out with Inter. He'll play it back to their keeper. Into build deep in Liverpool territory and playing with trying and come forward. And Vidal loses it to the hands of Sadio Mane, and now Marcelo Burns an Italian defender and brings it central before it's mopped up by the Italian centre back. I have to say, I'm going to rather embarrass myself because of my knowledge of Inter Milan's squad over than 4 or 5 of these players and who they actually are. Who they actually are and the ones I recognise. It's quite poor. I only know the ones really like we've seen in European tournaments in the Premier League. But this is quite silky football so far, but will they have the end product to match it? It's with Denzel Dumfries who fits about crossing the ball but goes back to his teammate. John Matip intervenes to stop Martinez from getting a shot away. And Liverpool do look a touch harried at the moment, but obviously because of the scoreline, the onus is on them to go and do the business. Vidal makes a long burst and run from the field, and he almost wins, but Alisson dives on the ball and says no, not today. And Liverpool now in possession with Trent. And just Liverpool players trying to get comfortable on the ball and set the tempo. Andy Robertson to Sadio Mane, who plays it to Thiago Alcantara, who spreads the play over to Trent, who, with his rage and passing, it doesn't seem to matter where he gets it on the pitch. Joe Matip again to Trent. Liverpool just taking it nice and steady. Everybody getting an early touch. Trent out to Curtis Jones, who tries to beat his man, and they both collapse on the floor, and I think that the referee would judge that to be an accidental infringement by Curtis Jones, and he does. Heavy touch by Jones. The interplayer, unfortunately, I don't so much know it is, getting in his way, and Inter are in possession again. But Inter immediately succumb to the Liverpool press, and yes, it's back with Liverpool. Joe Matip Van Dijk almost plays himself into trouble, does the splits, but no matter because Liverpool were cool in possession. Although the ball now changes hands and it's back with Inter, who try and play it for the third. Inter forming a meaningful attack here. A cross that's intercepted by Robertson, and Denzel Dumfries has a very sort of good effort, but unfortunately he just leans back at the wrong moment, and the danger comes to nothing, and it's a simple catch for Alisson, but Inter have really threatened there and shown that they're much capable of stretching this Liverpool defence. And at the other end, it's Dumfries again who intervenes to avert disaster for them, for Inter Milan at the back. And again, it's Inter able to play for the thirds. Very crisp passing and confident. They don't look to be at Anfield, but that breaks down, and now we see Mane, but he's graded out with 3 men around him, and that's excellent play from Vidal, but a very wasteful pass at the end of it. just too much greed going on there, unfortunately, for the Italians. Like, should be more composed and not rushing the passes. They have all night to get these two goals. They don't need to win the club all each time. Anyway, Trent had it and but for an interception by by Bastoni there, and Mozo would have been away with the freedom of Anfield on that side. Back to Joe Matip, who plays it all the way back to Allison. Allison passes it now to Matip, who looks to open his legs and progress down the field. Trent to Fabinho, but that pass loses the momentum slightly at the move. And the Robertson now progresses well with Sadio Mane to away from his man and bears down on goal, but playing it to Robertson, who deflects it off Deval, and it's a corner to Liverpool, which will be taken by Andy Robertson. It was a rule isn't just as effective as Trent on the other side with his set bases, but we'll see. When you've got Van Dijk who's so tall, you've always a chance. And it's an excellent ball and an absolutely must win header by Dumfries. And Trent now plays it into the area, and the Italians look scared to get the ball away, and it's all a bit harried, and a recycled ball over his own head from Fabinho comes to nothing, and Inter Milan build again and now come forward, but they're cried out by a combination of Fabinho and Thiago. At the moment, there's about 3 players roaming around on the pitch, but the referee says, no, get up, don't be babies, it's a man's game. Into playing lovely football, very also it's a players with a low centre of gravity who can run and create space, and now we'll see how Trent Alexander can be exposed defensively. He fails to stop the cross, but to no matter because it is straight into the arms of a great forward. Back with Liverpool, and Diego Jota is facing his own goal, but he's crowded out, and Denzel Dumfries retains possession for Inter, and Inter trying to take the sting out of the game by passing it around at the back, but you feel like they're susceptible to being dispossessed and pressured by the Liverpool press, and if they lose it in the wrong area, they'll be absolutely screwed, because we all know what Liverpool can do when they take the ball off the team. If I was in charge of Inter, I don't think I'd be playing around in quite the areas that they are, but Italians don't do aggregate football as a rule, do they? Oh, see, that's what I mean. Exactly what I mean. Just needlessly giving up and bullied off the ball. There was Vidal. Now it's with Thiago for Liverpool. Who plays it to Curtis Jones, who plays it back to Van Dijk, who plays it to Joe Matip, and Trent offers himself before not getting the trajectory of that pass quite right, and the ball bounces off, and it's a throw into Milan. 10 minutes gone, and it's gone very quickly so far. There hasn't been a goal test chance, but both teams look like they've come to play. There's not a negative thought in Liverpool's mind, as there never is, and the Italians seem to believe that they can do it. Denzel Dumfries runs away from Thiago and Andy Robertson before having to turn back, and he gives it to Vidal, and into Milan are going in completely the wrong direction and have been forced to fall length of the field back, losing on a moment. Oh, what a superb pass that was! But well, that cross comes to nothing. That was terrible. He had all sorts of men. All sorts of ball in the box. And terrible gug up. So back with Liverpool, Alisson out to Fabinho. Uh, and the ball's loose and Curtis Jones loses out. That is surely offside, but as is the way the referee lets it go, it was clearly about 5 yards offside, and yet the interplayers have temerity to look shocked and frustrated, even though Stevie Wonder could have told everybody that was offside. Liverpool in possession with Andy Robertson, who goes inside into the centre circle. Fabinho stretches his legs out, plays the ball into Trent Alexander-Arnold space. Now it's onto Curtis Jones, who plays it to Diego Jota, but slightly behind him, so the momentum's lost. Intercepted in the field by Inter, who go all the way back to the keeper, who plays a suicidal ball at Andy Robertson, gets on the end of that. Andy Robertson crosses the ball in, and there's a slightly scrambled scene in the area to get it away for Inter. The ball seems to be in the air a lot. It's his legs. I don't know whether it's playing a game in Liverpool tonight, but the ball seems to be staying in the air forever when it's there, and players are misjudging it. Yeah, you can see actually it's very windy. When you look at Virgil van Dijk and his shirt's going into the dozen in the wind, and it's causing confusion. But nevertheless, Trent Alexander-Arnold plays it to Curtis Jones, who beats a couple of men in midfield, but ends up sort of losing momentum, and it's back in the hands of Alisson's feet played out to Trent, who goes for a one ball, first time ball, and Diego Jota puts the brow under immense pressure at the back. He's running in treacle, and it's out for a unnecessary and hurry corner to Liverpool. And of course, from this side, it'd be Trent who delivers on this occasion, looking for no doubt ahead of Van Dijk or Joe Matip. Virgil van Dijk tries to steal a yard on his man, and we'll see where this ends up. So the corner comes in from Trent Alexander-Arnold, and it meets the head of Virgil van Dijk as I predicted, but not much momentum on that header, and it's into the grateful hands of the keeper. Thiago Alcantara with his shots peeled down, as is a style of Jack Grealish. Liverpool spread the play well, nicely, but come back to go forwards with Virgil van Dijk. Andy Robertson plays a long ball in the general direction of Sadio Mane, and there's nearly a defensive breakdown in communication at the back for Inter, but it goes out to play without any hand-on. Some of the Italian fans in the crowd look a bit bruising, don't they? They say England have rough fans, but I think the roughest fans are abroad myself. Lovely place, Italy, home. Anyway, Italy Inter come forward, and Virgil van Dijk bounces on any danger. Thiago Alcantara now heads the loose ball, and that is a poor mistake by Fabinho, who doesn't anticipate what happens and then enters straight forward. And after a bit of pinball, it's back into the hands of Thiago. I'm sure that was a free kick to Liverpool, but the official says no, and at the moment it's like sort of a pinball game. I cannot so much keep up with the commentary when both teams burst into life. It's difficult to report on, but Inter playing it at the back, short range passing, which is good if they can beat the press, but I just know that Liverpool were for sure going to get a goal tonight by some form of defensive error by Inter. You can just see it coming. They play well through the danger in the midfield there, although it's to no avail, and Liverpool from Alisson, who clears the ball on range, but slips on his backside in the process. And Mo Salah buys the free kick from the referee to Liverpool, sort of slightly inside the into half. It's a nothing foul, but it is a foul because it pulled his shirt. Liverpool just playing quite patiently. Of course, they do have the cushion of the 2-goal lead, so you can understand that. Virgil van Dijk, though, with a nice crisp pass that time to Trent. Trent into the feet of Curtis Jones, back to Trent. Joe Matip goes all the way back to his keeper. Alisson spreads it out to Andy Robertson, and Andy Robertson sloppily plays a no pass that surrenders possession, and it's back in the hands of Inter, who in turn go back before going forward. Both teams are very guilty of surrendering possession, but the referee sees Vidal go for a roll around on the floor after a collision with Fabinho, and the referee decides it is a foul, even though to the ball first, and Fabinho doesn't commit any infringement. It's just that Vidal bangs into the knee of Fabinho, so that would have been sore for him. But he doesn't do anything wrong at all, doesn't Fabinho. So anyway, free kick wins Milan, and they have it on the right side of the defence. Now a long ball that's aimless intercepted by Mo Salah, but poor control from Curtis Jones means that it comes to nothing, and Martinez, the striker from Milan, is in histrionic style appealing for a foul and pretending he's been elbowed in the chops by Fabinho. So another infringement, and the game is a little bit bitty, to be honest. Denzel Dumfries gets across, attempts to get across him, but it's Andy Robertson on the bum, who does his defending well, and somehow scripts the ball out to Sadio Mane, but Diego Jota surrenders possession, and if it wasn't for the strength and the positioning of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Martinez to get a shot up in very close proximity to the goal. Anyway, the game's back underway, and there's an infringement on Fabinho, so Liverpool get to. Oh, that's a great challenge and a potential yellow card for Martinez. Surely, Joe Matip plays the ball out to Van Dijk. Robertson recycles the ball, and it's with Matip again who stretches his legs and plays the ball into midfield into the feet of Jota, who plays it out to Salah in his straight back position, cutting in, but it's intercepted before it can be passed back to Jota. And Trent stupidly plays it into a grade of Inter players, and now Inter come on the turnover, although Andy Robertson intervenes, and it's now back with Mane, who had the opportunity to wait off to Robertson in space, but instead slows the move down, and Joe Matip again, confident, almost plays it to Jota. The ball breaks free, and Robertson plays it to Jota, and Robertson differs a little bit. Thiago Alcantara to Mo Salah to Curtis Jones, and Trent slows it down and retains possession, and Fabinho falls asleep, and the Interman takes the ball off him. A bit of a physical mismatch between Martinez and Virgil van Dijk, and as you would expect, Virgil van Dijk comes out on top of that. And yeah, we have Andy Robertson out to Virgil van Dijk to Fabinho. Fabinho plays it out to Trent, and Trent plays a really nice pass to the feet of Jota, and three men moves Salah out of the game when it's out to play for a forward to Liverpool and Bow to play again. And Bayern Munich are already winning 3-0, and I'm sure that's 3 goals in as many minutes. I'm going to watch, but we'll see as the night progresses what can happen here. See, Liverpool have just had a fraction more in the possession, 55% to Inter towards 5%, but it is Inter who've got much, quite more penetrative so far. That's hard to say when you've got a cerebral palsy, but penetrative on the attack. Not quite sure what's going on here. Jurgen Klopp shrugging his shoulders and turning over an official of some sort, looking a bit chased off. Is there obviously because I'm doing this, I haven't got any volume on. Is there can anybody tell me what the heck, what's going on? Is somebody having a heart attack in the stands? Or what? I can't turn the TV up because oh yes, I think I can see some medics, and it looks like to me that some poor soul has been taken unwell in the top end of the Liverpool stand, and as seems to be the modern protocol now, and rightly so from a humane point of view. The game comes to a stop every time somebody gets taken ill, but for goodness knows why this seems to be happening like in every other game you watch. I don't know. It's just constantly now. I'm not a doctor or I'm not. I've had my free jabs and things like that, obviously, because I'm disabled and vulnerable, but it does make you wonder why this is happening all the time. I don't know whether it's a new rule or what the heck, but as long as the person ends up being alright and the game can get underway soon, and we don't have to talk about anybody dying when they go to watch a football match. It's an angel. I feel like it might be good news though, because you can see gentle applause in the crowd, which probably the person's been led away, and we appear to be back underway. Well, just about to be back underway with the players keeping themselves warm and the ball back on the pitch. So yeah, luckily it seems like it could have been much worse for whoever it was. And we are back underway. Play commences with thrown to Inter, and it's head tennis, and you would imagine that it might take the players a minute or two to get back up to speed, and immediately Inter surrender possession, thrown to Liverpool to be taken by Trent. Trent surveys his options, but there's not much movement for him, and yeah, Trent takes a relatively long throw headed away by the defender, but it breaks loose to the feet of Jota to Thiago Alcantara to Roberts, and it goes back in field to Virgil van Dijk and Thiago now to Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones plays it. There's a lot of players slipping over. Blooming heck is an ice rink out there. Robertson, Matt to Mane, and Mane invites a challenge from Denzel Dumfries, and it appears to be a free kick to Liverpool in a very, very dangerous area. Mane tries to escape the man, and Denzel Dumfries thinks about pulling out of the challenge, but it's as though he can't quite stop his momentum in time. So, free kick to Liverpool with 29 minutes of the game gone. Almost half an hour gone, but there'll be a couple of minutes to add on. And there's now a conflict going on between Andy Robertson and Trent, and you would imagine that Robertson will take this because of, or not, it's Trent to play the ball in, and Liverpool hit a crossbar by virtue of the header Joe Matip, desperately unlucky, expert delivery by Trent, and yeah, just almost gets a bit too much on the header, maybe not because it comes right to him, he can't sort of guide it downwards. Very unlucky. Hits the crossbar and it's pinned out for a corner to Liverpool, which now Trent Alexander has another attempt to deliver and stands over it. Trent plays another superb ball in, and it seems to be absolutely perilously close to, Virgil van Dijk gets there, and it looks all day long as though it's going to be a goal, but somehow a very unfortunate or fortunate deflection just takes it out to the back of the goal, and again it's gone for another corner to Liverpool, and it's third time looking for Trent. Trent delivers, and that's not one of his better ones, and the ball comes out, but it goes straight back to him and he recycles the ball, and there's a desperate defensive header at the back for Inter, and Liverpool now been a bit slow to warm up, but they're really turning the screw when the compulsory stoppage Inter have been unable to find any rhythm, and you can sense a goal coming for Liverpool. So Trent is about to take a throw in, deepen into territory, and it now goes back to Joe Matip, who goes all the way back to Allison. Allison out to Fabinho, and it's at the feet of Allison again, who plays a cool pass. He's almost good enough with his feet to play in central midfield. He's more cultured than any central midfielder that Burnley have to offer, put it that way. Thiago Alcantara to Joe Matip. Well, Joe Matip stretches his legs for playing a silly ball in the direction of Jones, who just about intercepts it to return the ball for Liverpool. Andy Robertson to Diego Jota. Diego Jota to Thiago Alcantara, who seems to have more time than anyone else on the pitch when he's on the ball. He never gets flustered or harried. Joe Matip has been very progressive in stretching his legs in the first half. Here he goes again doing it. Mo Salah to Sadio Mane creates himself a bit of space and a cross that easily cleared away, but it's wave after wave of Liverpool attack and threat at the moment. Into Milan appear to have gone to sleep unless they're all here to come. And Andy Robertson is sold a dummy, and very unfortunately for Martinez, the ball was just a little bit too far in front of it, because that would have been a glaring obvious one-on-one and probably 1-0 to Inter if he could have just got there. But he couldn't, and now Liverpool were back in possession with Fabinho and Joe Matip. Now Trent, who plays an over-the-top ball and almost into the path of the onrushing Mo Salah, but it's gathered safely into the hands of Inter's keeper. I'm afraid from an Inter perspective, I just can't see them scoring 3. I can see them perhaps winning the game 1-0 or scoring and taking the lead, but to keep a clean sheet at Anfield, I don't think that's within the remit, to be honest. And let's hope not, because it'd be nice to see all the English teams get to the latter stages again, wouldn't it? Excellent challenge from Thiago to dispossess. Difficult to commentate on this game. I'm finding it a bit too fast. But anyway, that attack comes to nothing because of a bit of poor decision making at the end. But I think it was Robertson. Vidal, Dumfries plays it backwards. I do like this of triangles and the movement that Inter Milan play with. They're very fluid. I can't see anybody who just seems to be a destroyer on the pitch for them. They all seem very comfortable in possession, which is very nice to watch. Vidal is, well, I think his career has seen better days, and you could see that he lacked the legs there to escape Andy Robertson, although somehow it is a corner to Inter Milan, and can they fashion anything from it? Because from memory, I think this is the first set piece that I can remember having. They've got height in there with the brown, skinnier, should I say, the ball in the box. And it's pinball at the back post, but Virgil van Dijk gets a long leg to it and hoops the ball upfield for Liverpool. And that'll be a free kick to Inter, I think, because, oh no, the referee doesn't fall for it. He says, give over with your play action. It's not drama school. The interpret of the ball and now has the ball in his hand for a throw-in to Liverpool. Curtis Jones puts Trent in a bit of trouble and the ball gets caught in the wind. Virgil van Dijk with a long range pass that's no good, but it comes to Curtis Jones. Mo Salah gets crowded out by two Inter men, and again Inter looking a more accomplished team on the ball, but will it lead to the chances and the threats required? Liverpool do seem a bit passive, and here we have Inter coming again, and I think a very dangerous and threatening attack with Alexis Sanchez has been thwarted by an offside, and he was 2 miles offside to be fair. Andy Robertson has it for Liverpool now. It's only 7 minutes left and 6 minutes left in this half. Alisson to Fabinho, who pirouettes and looks like he was about to slip over, but keeps his foot in. Back to Alisson. See, not many teams are so happy to expose their keeper to so much of the ball. And a feat is what Liverpool do for Alisson, the same way with Ederson at City, but it's like having 11 accomplished outfield players. Inter come again, crossing Andy Robertson's header, but to no one in particular, and it's recycled by Milan. There's a Bambi on ice for Inter who almost gives the ball away, but he sticks to his task and he earns a free kick by virtue of a late challenge from Diego Jota, who just stumbles and instead of getting back to the ball, takes a big chunk out of Skriniar, into defender. Purely accidental from Jota, but it ends up being late and it's a nasty challenge. And whether he sits for or not, that's going to hurt him. And I tell you what, Liverpool actually, that the referee chooses to blow for the first infringement because there was another. Oh no, he's chosen to do the second one, which means it's a free kick to Inter right on the edge of the Liverpool area with Callum Nogler, number 20, standing over it for Inter, and it's too much of a tight angle for a shot. He has all of his teammates to aim for, and he plays it low. Not a shot, I don't think, but even so, it needed to be saved because Alisson couldn't be sure where it goes. And he gets down low to his right to parry a low drive away, a shot that you'd expect him to save. But tell you what, it only needed a deflection of any sort there, and it would have been done for, and it would have been 1-0. So a bit of a let off for Liverpool. But Liverpool have a throw quite a throwing quite deep in their own territory, thrown in, but they lose possession immediately and to bring it forward. Vidal tries to win a free kick, but the referee's not interested, and Andy Robertson is on the ball and not looking particularly decisive in what he wants to do with it. And he checks back to Virgil van Dijk. Fabinho with a nice whipping pass to Trent. and Trent plays quite a precise pass to Thiago. Thiago almost surrenders possession but doesn't, and Liverpool are forced all the way back to Alisson. And it's been an excellent game of pressing and intent and harrying of opponents by both teams. Nobody's appeared to have a moment's peace on the ball all game so far. Alisson plays a long-range clearance. Diego Jota is second to the ball. And Inter now have a throw in Liverpool territory, and psychologically, what would one goal to do to change the complexion of the tie before half time? They then only need one more to take it to extra time, so there's a massive incentive for Inter to play with urgency now. A great pass by Denzel Dumfries into the path of Vidal, the hands of Thiago Alcantara, and now Liverpool are bearing down on goal with Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones claims to have been fouled, and it isn't a heapment of war, but the foreign official has no interest in it, and play comes to a stop as Curtis Jones, I think someone stood on his ankle, but there was a bit. Oh yeah. They did stand on his ankle, but there wasn't any intent to it, and that probably why it wasn't a free kick. Just an accident. His ankle a bit of foot appeared to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Liverpool players are not very impressed. Yeah, just being shown again. I knew Joe Matip headed at the crossbar was, and the answer is very, very near. That would have been tie over, and Liverpool would have been home and host for the whole tie then. Curtis Jones gets back to his feet, looks around at the referee, looks a bit pissed off with him, and looks like he's putting a bit of a tender limp onto me. John couldn't do any more, couldn't Van Dijk or Matip with those headers. They both got it cleanly, just bad luck. On another day, Liverpool definitely scored both, and we're back underway. There's 5 minutes of injury time. Largely courtesy of the medical emergency stoppage, and Curtis Jones is back on the pitch, and surprise, surprise, running around now, free as a bird. Inter Milan surrender possession now, and they are very hurried and hectic at the back, not very composed. As soon as there's a Liverpool player inside of them, all the centre backs are haphazard and don't look anywhere near as composed as what Liverpool's back line do. Virgil went out to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who plays a long-range pass down the throat of the defender, and it's out for the Freud to again. It's now all the way back with Alisson, who seems to start all of Liverpool's moves. Alisson plays almost a defence switching pass, but it's adjusted to be offside and a free kick to into build on their right, but the momentum is lost. And Liverpool's shape means that Inter have nowhere to go for the moment. But they come forward again, and again the move breaks down by virtue of a silly upside and a lack of concentration from, I believe it was Perisic. Well, anyway, no matter, Curtis Jones out to Virgil van Dijk and comes forward and takes the offer up from Andy Robertson in support. Virgil van Dijk all the way back to our listener now. What's his options before playing it back to Van Dijk? Excellent touch from Mane into Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones buys a foul sensibly and takes the free kick he won himself to Fabinho. Trent Alexander-Arnold, who uses the option of the tricky Mo Salah, and Trent tries one of his crosses that bounce. I'll be honest, Trent has been a bit shit tonight, which you can often think that when you watch him, but then he does all sorts of good. Free kick to Liverpool. Well, no, referee played advantage after a crunching tackle on Thiago. Thiago rolls around as though his legs about to fall off. And Alexis Sanchez challenge kicks him right on the knee. Absolutely nowhere near the ball. And how the heck is that not bare minimum of a yellow card? A terrible challenge. No excuse for that. Oh, and that was an hefty pat on the head from Jota. I don't think Chile and Brazil get along so well, and you can see a bit of national rivalry and patriotism in that brutal challenge. And no wonder they've got Peter Walton on, because I thought he could be off for that one, to be honest, but it appears it's been unpunished. Anyway, there's only a few seconds of this half left, and Liverpool in possession with Curtis Jones. Trent Alexander-Arnold, who tries to play a splitting pass into the path of Sadio Mane and into escape with the ball landing gratefully into the hands of the keeper. But Liverpool come again. Curtis Jones on the ball, and right at the last move and a half, Curtis Jones has been stopped cynically from advancing and probably from getting a shot away from a desperate and dirty lunge by Mr. Vidal, the punk rocker. He says, no, I didn't have the legs for that anymore, and I'm not risking you putting the game out of our side just before half time. The bad news for him is the number of dead ball specialists that Liverpool have at their disposal. Mr. TAA might just bout this one in the top corner, and then it will be game over. It'd be fantastic to see a special free kick from Trent, because for all of his talents, he doesn't really score as many of these as he might do. But Trent awaits the referee's whistle and takes several strides backwards before he hits the ball. Let's see what he can do with it. Oh, a rasping effort by Trent, but he just doesn't quite get his margins right. He gets it up, he gets it over the wall, he gets the necessary power, but not just quite the direction, and actually is high, wide, and not so handsome in the end. And that brings the first half to a conclusion. 0-0 at half time, meaning that Liverpool where they've got 1 foot and 3 toes in the last 8 of the Champions League now, but it's never over until it's over. I've enjoyed watching that. I hope you've enjoyed my summaries of my action of it. My analysis of it, sorry, and sorry to be rude to people, but if you want to join me for the second half, you're more than welcome to do so. Uh, if you want to come back in when the game kicks off again in about 10-15 minutes time, you're glad to do that. But for the sake of rest of my voice and not sort of straining myself too much, I am ignorantly gonna sit here silently and drink some tea for the next. But once the second half approaches, I will come back and speak and introduce the second half. I'm actually just gonna check the halftime scores in the other games, and hopefully Millwall will make me happy by getting a result to pass the Rovers, because I do not want them to be in the Premier League while Burnley in the Championship. Oh no, at halftime, that'll do. Can live with that one. Alright, thank you very much. Can somebody let me know in the chat? Someone has said that they can't understand what I'm saying. Is there a problem with my microphone or something, or why is there a problem with it not being heard? Is it that person's technology, or have I got a problem? Please let me know. I don't want to be sat here talking to myself all the time if people can't hear me. Somebody please at least put a thumbs up in the comments if you can hear me. Oh, a nice one. Cheers, pal. I don't know what they're on about. I don't know whether they meant. Well, I don't know. Maybe they've accidentally muted it while they're watching or something. But if they want to know, they'll be back, won't they? Should be able to start this game for Liverpool. Why did that one not go in? Very, very, very unlucky. It's if there's an Italian fan with a bare chest out in Liverpool tonight when it's 7 degrees, when he's used to 27 degrees in Italy. Football makes you do mad things. Ah, dear. To anybody new coming in the chat, it might seem ignorant not speaking during the interval, but just at a moment while I get used to it, it's quite intense, cerebral-palsy-wise on my voice to keep talking continuously for almost 2 hours. So I'll be more interactive and insightful with the, responding to interactions once I get used to it, and maybe in time we can have debates about football, maybe even quizzes during half-time intervals and things. But just while I get used to it, I don't want to start losing my voice or anything. I don't honestly see a way back for him to, but I'd like to see the two English players score for Liverpool, a goal for Curtis Jones and a goal for Trent and make mine out. But realistically, you'd have to say that Mo Salah is going through the most minor of droughts. And when I say drought, he's scored 4 goals in his last 6 games. But he's had a couple of quiet or off-colour games by age standards. So realistically, I bet it's him who's going to open the scoring, if anybody. Only a few minutes now. The game should be commencing in the next minute or two. I've had a cup of tea. I've got a bit more voice back. Anybody new coming in, please like, subscribe, and share the stream to grow the channel. Thank you to anybody choosing to give up their evening to listen to me. I know it's perhaps hard to listen to my voice and not the most professional commentary, but I'm just basically privileged to be able to do this and enjoy a match with people listening to what I want to say is brilliant. So thank you for anybody doing that. Please tell your friends who like football about these streams and help me to grow the channel and teach people in the wider world who might think that disabled people don't know anything about football. That's not the case, because I absolutely live and breathe football. And the coverage is back on, which means that the players should be with us again at any moment. I actually think that Liverpool have every chance of going all the way in the Champions League and very potentially winning 3, if not 4 trophies come the final reckoning this season. But to get through this next 45 minutes first and not run before they come walk. Splendid view of Anfield. What a nice stadium it does look when it's full. I have to say, it's iconic. And I enjoyed the beginning of You'll Never Walk Alone and that when all the cop sing it in unity at the beginning of a match. But the atmosphere is anybody who's been with Birmingham will know that it's shit and flat on a normal match day, and all the fans just sit there and wait for the team to score, and then even when they do score against a team like us, they don't even bother getting that excited. It's disappointing, really, but anyway, somebody fell into my land, spending about 5 minutes passing his boots, and the players are on the pitch appear to have a substitution for Inter. His teammates are pleased to see him. And we're about to commence the action in the second half. Thiago Alcantara kicks off to Virgil van Dijk, who plays a long ball upfield, clear back into Fabinho, who plays it to Curtis Jones, and Liverpool retain possession, moving it from back to front. Virgil van Dijk, back to Alisson, Matip, Alisson again to Fabinho, Matip, Chris Paul out to uh, Cantaro, and miscontrols it, allowing Inter to potential break forward, and the ball's like a bag of crisps blowing through the wind at the moment. Nobody can get a foot on it. Inter messing the attack up with Vidal losing control of the ball, and now Alcantara, who again, for about the third time in 30 seconds, gives it away. And Liverpool are ragged at the moment, just at the start of the half. There's a lunge by Andy Robertson bringing down Denzel Dumfries. And Andy Robertson says to the referee, "Are you taking the piss, Sonny?" But it's a clear free kick. And Inter have an opportunity to put a ball into the Liverpool box with I can't just tell who that is, and my knowledge of these interplayers is really letting me down. But anyway, in the ball comes back from Inter, and Alexis Sanchez, who's about 5'3", stole a run on his defender. It probably would have been offside, but I headed straight down the throat of Alisson, who gratefully accepts what could have been a goal and a free header. But at the other end, Trent is on the end of the area, and he takes a shot, but the steam is taken out of it. But Inter's keeper accepts it. And now we're back down the other end with Vidal, Dumfries, and there's such tempo to the game that I can't quite get the necessary words in. Alexis Sanchez to, I believe that was Perisic, but intercepted by Matip and into the arms of a great Alisson. Joe Matip has improved tenfold on a player that I recall him being a couple of years ago. Mo Salah, lovely pass to Thiago, now Fabinho, back to Salah, and Salah is in a position where he can get past his man, and the defender goes for a swim on the floor. Mo Salah just tries to do too much and gets slightly graded out. But Inter Milan come again now. It's a very end-to-end seesaw feel to the game at the beginning of this half. What a wonderful pass that almost was, but there's just too much on it, and perhaps the wind has that to answer for. Alisson Becker dribbles away from the onrushing attacker and keeps it, despite looking like he was going to go up. But now Trent bursts forward, extending his legs, and plays it into the path of Mo Salah before there's an interception by Skriniar, who appears to have slightly injured the base of his back. Trent now plays the ball into the feet of Sadio Mane, who makes some space for himself on the end of the box. Andy Robertson overhits his cross, but some faultless defending by Skriniar gives it back to now Curtis Jones to Trent, who plays the ball in, and every inch of Sadio Mane flung it out, but to no avail. And there's a goal by a scramble on the end of the box where Inter just about managing desperation to get the ball away. But it's such a good quality ball. Liverpool's in one of the best team at delivering into the box in maybe the whole world, I think. Diego Jota is forced off the ball and he looks a bit like a kid in the playground chasing it around. Trent now to Thiago to Jones to Mane, who runs out of pitch and interpoled again before surrendering possession. Thiago bursts. This is going to be one. Oh, not Mo Salah. It's the crossbar. Who would have thought that a chance like that would be passed up by the supposed best player in the world on current form? Not too dissimilar to the chance of Harry Kane last night, but then the other end, it's into a threat now when Denzel Dumfries crosses the ball, but it's intercepted by Trent, hurriedly cleared by Thiago, and Salah appears to buy a foul, but the referee says no, get up, and Inter Milan come forward and attack again. Fabinho trods over the ball, he doesn't know where it is. The ball now breaks loose to Curtis Jones, who comes forward. Now to Mo Salah, headed up to the Mo Salah, a weak speculative shot from Curtis Jones, who then bullies Denzel Dumfries off the ball, and it's back to Mo Salah. Diego Jota takes the ball, and it's all very, very frenetic. And it's about to be a free kick to Inter. And yes, it is. The Inter goal within an increasingly jarring life at the start of this half. But Alisson to John Matip to Virgil van Dijk, who now plays it to the feet of Curtis Jones, who's really seen a lot more of the ball this half and coming into his own, which is nice to see again. It's with Jones, who plays it to Thiago to Andy Robertson, Curtis Jones again. Takes a safe option and going back to Van Dijk, who plays a one-field pass that doesn't quite reach the intended target of Trent. Trent does like a beach ball, silly pass back to Alisson, but Liverpool retain possession, and it's where Thiago gets away from his man. Salah to Trent, who gets the trajectory of that one wrong, and it's now out to play for a throw into Milan. It was quite the sitter by Mozzarella standards. Diego Jota can't quite hook his foot around it before the keeper comes out, and agonisingly hits a post for Liverpool, but Mozzarella doesn't get the right sort of leverage on the shot and appears to lean back just at the wrong minute. Alexis Sanchez coming forward, playing a long throw for Inter. It could have been a free kick, but the referee chooses to play advantage. And it's now out wide with not certain. But anyway, it's back in Liverpool hands with Diego Jota, who tries to find Mo Salah, but the mopping up is done by, I believe that was Skriniar. Inter only got 35 minutes to save the European aspirations. 3 goals in 35 minutes, very unrealistic, and of course, the more they push, the more gaps there might be for Liverpool to exploit. Mo Salah to Thiago Silva Thiago Silva, excellent pass out to Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson will be thinking of a fried pizza or a glass of pop fast and a fried Mars bar if Liverpool get through this pretty treat tonight. Here he is again to Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk takes this thing out of the game and sort of says to an Inter player, come and press me if you want to take it off me. But the press isn't forthcoming. Inter look tired and Liverpool seem to be toward accelerated for the groups. Diego Jota to Sadio Mane, who debates running at his man, but runs at the ball and cons himself and doesn't take the ball with him and does the splits and the move breaks then for Liverpool. Quite comical really, and Mane could have quite easily hurt himself by doing that, but he beats the alright and interrupt possession in their own penalty area, and they try and smartly beat the Liverpool press. And they do that to a certain extent, even though they can't get beyond the halfway line, and it's head tennis, the game's scrappy, and neither team are playing with much composure. I think it's the wind. It's the players know the wind won in Liverpool in some ways tonight. But Thiago, who's probably the most composed player on the pitch in a way, to Trent, Fabinho, to Thiago, out to Curtis Jones, who wonders about stretching his legs and does so before laying it off to Mane and continuing his run. Andy Robertson to Fabinho, back to Virgil van Dijk. It's a weird game. There's been bursts of pedestrian play and then bursts of mad tempo. But here we go with Trent, who wonders about getting a shot off, but goes for a pass that doesn't quite find its intended target on the end of the area. Crucial defending from Inter. Curtis Jones, good composure from him, but ends up getting dispossessed in the end before the referee can award him a free kick. And now Inter are threatening, and Trent Alexander-Arnold fails to stop the cross as usual. I don't know why he ran away from his man, but he did. But to no avail, and Liverpool come, a raking pass from Trent Alexander-Arnold intended for Sadio Mane, but Sadio Mane loses his footing and loses the battle. Inter come again. Everything good about what Inter are doing is coming by virtue of number 77 and Martinez spins away, gets his shot off, excellent play, excellent turn, and it's surely a corner. I think that the deflection off the heels of Andy Robertson have just taken that ball agonisingly past the post of Alisson, and that was arguably the best piece of football we've seen in a match. Corner to Inter. Doesn't make the first man, and Curtis Jones can stifle the ball away, but Liverpool can't get out, and the ball comes in again. Put it into the safe hands of Alisson, who distributes the ball rapidly to Trent, and Trent makes his way down the pitch, opens his legs, but makes a sloppy pass, and it's intercepted by Inter, and off they come again on the break. And again, that period, Liverpool's offside trap might have been beaten here. Trent Alexander caught in high line, and well, that's just typical of Inter, who were somewhat toothless in attack, and a prime example there of I adore Trent Alexander. I know he's a player and I love his technical ability, but for me, that's an example of why Reece James will get in the England squad every time he's the right back, because he's so much better defender. Whoa, 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 whoa! And I have just been caught napping, and it's a wonderful shot, a wonderful effort from, I believe it's the Argentinian player Martinez, and the Italians are giving the Scousers a bird. They're saying shove spaghetti at your nostrils. Liverpool have that. Liverpool caught on the turnover. Joe Matip goes to sleep. Virgil van Dijk, really, I feel like that is a pathetic and rubbish spot. What was Virgil van Dijk doing, sticking a token gesture of a leg out? Alisson doesn't stand a chance in the goal. Rifles past him. Lazy defending Liverpool too much in their comfort zone, thinking the game's over. Well, it's bloody not over. There's still 20 minutes to play for here. In fact, no, sorry, 28 minutes to go here. Almost half an hour to go. Half an hour including added time, and it's all to play for. Inter Milan reduced their leads to within one goal. And and the game has turned on its head while I'm still summarising the goal. Alexis Sanchez, former Arsenal Manchester United man, received his managing orders from the referee. A late challenge for Alexis Sanchez. I just see who it was who got absolutely cropped. And just as he had a glimmer of hope, it's a foul on Fabinho, but it's one of those that it's a painful challenge, he's waited, but it's a follow through. And I don't think that there's much he can do to prevent it from happening itself, Alexis Sanchez. Once he gets to the ball, his momentum is naturally going to take him into Fabinho. And whilst it's painful for Fabinho, he seems to be alright. And I don't think there was malicious intent. But the Inter players, Crowder and the referee, and the Chilean international and Premier League, well, not Premier League legend, but Arsenal legend, strips his gloves off, strips the bandage off his leg, and walks the disconsolate and lonely walk down the tunnel for an early bath. And just as you thought Liverpool were in trouble, that's a reprieve and gets them back to a comfort zone situation, as we see young Curtis Jones leave the field for to be replaced by Navigator, and I've just seen Jordan Henderson there, so he's going to enter the play to stiffen up the Liverpool midfield in place of Thiago. What an eventful few minutes. Liverpool back underway with a man advantage, and Stewart are just going to try and pass the ball around and tire into out to utilise this one man advantage. like I just predicted, Liverpool now playing it around at the back, trying to take this thing out of Inter. I think Alexis and Inter are going to there, but at the end of the day, support it was a dangerous challenge, and that's mostly the basis of things for these days. Not really the intent, but Jordan Henderson plays a long-range pass into Sadio Mane, who was fouled, but the referee judges it to be offside. Sadio Mane shakes his head in confusion, and Liverpool have got the hunger to press backwards. Trent tries to play a nonchalant pass back, but it's out of play and into the hands of Inter for a throw. Excuse me, right. So I remember now that there was that late challenge from Alexis on Thiago in the first half that I saw was unpunished by the referee, but it appears to have been a second bookable offence, so that makes it more understandable. Anyway, Jordan Henderson now to Mo Salah, who plays across to Henderson, intercepted by Inter Milan before a desperate cross, a desperate clearance, and the ball is now in midfield. Inter Milan wants a free kick, but the referee says no. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mo Salah, and Jordan Henderson playing triangles before it goes back to Alisson now distributes it to Joe Matip, who plays a crossfield ball that's not just the right dimensions for the on-rushing Andy Robertson. Looking at this goal, how unfortunate for Martinez. Simply an unstoppable shot, really quite worthy of winning any game of football, and so unfortunate that his team are now up against it. Virgil van Dijk in possession, Joe Matip to Trent to Mane to Henderson. It spreads the play to Andy Robertson. Fabinho gives it again to Robertson. Diego Jota comes deep. Jordan Henderson to Trent, back to Henderson. Inter Milan now essentially what to be being forced to chase the ball for the rest of the evening, which is the perils of life when you find yourself a man down. Trent into Mane to Salah, and there's what I would think would be an accidental collision between Sadio Mane and